Hello Yellow Group. Today is Monday the 1st of March and we are today going to be looking at identifying prime numbers. Now for you to be successful with this, you're going to have to use your times table facts. You're going to work systematically and you're going to be able to fully explain your reasoning. So let's have a look and see if we can remember what prime numbers are. Now this is just really a revision on what we did in the autumn term because we looked at prime numbers then. So let's look at the difference between a number that is prime and a number that isn't prime. So firstly, we have number 13 here. 13 is a prime number, and we know it's a prime number because it has only got two factors. It's got itself, the number 13, and 1. So it is a prime number. Now remember, a factor, if you can't quite remember what a factor is a number that is multiplied by another to give a product. So here we have the product 56, and 56 is also a multiple of 7 and 8 because those two numbers multiplied together give you 56. So 7 and 8 are both factors of 56. So going back to prime numbers, because that's what we're focusing on today. So 13 has only got two factors, 1 and itself, so it's a prime number. 4, however, has got three factors. It's got itself, it's got 1, and it's got 2. So we know that it's got more than two factors. Therefore, it clearly isn't a prime number. So you're going to apply this now into your first task, and I'm going to take you through it in a bit more detail, so don't worry. So your task 1 is to identify all the prime numbers on the 100 grid that you have been sent through. So I have got my times table grid out here just to help me and to keep me on track. And I thought that you might want to do the same yourself because we're focusing on prime numbers here, and it's your times table facts that are going to help you. What we're going to do is we're going to, on this grid, circle all the prime numbers and cross out the numbers that are not prime numbers. And then this times table, this 100 square grid is going to help you when you move on to task 2 and to task 3. So first of all, I want to just look at the number 1. Now, you know that a prime number has to have two factors, itself and the number 1. Now, number 1 is an anomaly. It's slightly different in the fact that if it was if it's a prime number, then we know that it's two numbers multiplied together, a factor is two numbers multiplied together to get to that number. Whereas here, we've got 1 and 1. So we have got two of the same numbers, 1 and 1. So therefore, it cannot be a prime number. So we are going to now cross out our 1 because it is not a prime number. It hasn't got two separate integers to times together. So we're going to look at 2. Now, and we're going to work our way systematically through this 100 grid, doing what I'm going to model to you now. So here we've got 2. Now I've got my grid here, and I'm going down along here, and I'm going to down from 1 times what? 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. And then I've got 2 times 1 is 2. But 2 does not appear anywhere else. So I know that 2 has only got two factors. It's got 1 and itself. So I know that it is a prime number. Interestingly, 2 is the only even number that's a prime number. So let's look at 3 now, going systematically through what we're doing. So I'm looking at 3, and I'm sat there thinking, okay, what are the factors of 3? What can we multiply together to get to this number? So I'm going to go along here, and I'm going to look at 3, and I've found 3 here. Okay, I know 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, so I know that that is a factor. And I'm going to go along and look, okay, I've got another 3 here, but I know that 3 times 1 is 3. So that's the same. So I know here now that 3 has got two factors. Therefore, 3 is also a prime number because it hasn't got any other factors. So I can circle that. Okay, so then I come to 4. So I'm looking for my factor. So what can we multiply together to get the product of 4? So I'm going along here. Okay, so I know 1 times 4 is a factor. I've got 4 here, and I know 2 times 2 is a factor. And I've got 4 here, and I know 1 times 4. Well, I know 1 times 4, or 4 times 1 is the same as 1 times 4. But I've got this other factor here. 2 is then showing me that it's a factor. So here, working systematically, I've gone 1 times 4 is 4. Then I go down here. 2 times 2 is 4. So 4 is not a prime number. So let's cross this one out. So then I'm going to move on to 5. Use my times table grid again. I'm going to look down the first column to see where 5 is. Okay, so I know 1 times 5 is 5. Where else have I got 5 on here? Okay, here. 1 times 5 is 5. Now we know that 5 times 1 and 1 times 5 is exactly the same. So we know that 5 is a prime number because it's only got 2 factors. So that yellow group is your first task. So I want you to pause the video now and work your way through the 100 grid, listing systematically the factors as I have done. And the top tip is to work down this side, 1, 2, 3, until you get to the point where your factors cross over. If you remember, we did that in the autumn term. So stop the video now and work your way through task 1. When you've done that task 1, restart your video. So, year 6. Task 2. Now your 100 square foot that you just completed in task 1 is going to be so helpful in this task because literally this is fill in the missing numbers. The prime numbers up to 50 are, so I'll be getting a piece of paper and blocking out this section here on my 100 square and then write the missing numbers, the prime numbers up to 50. So I've got 2, 3, what one goes in there? Well, I know it's 5 because we've already just done it. Then it's 7. What is the prime number? We've got between 7 and 13. What's your next prime number that you've marked off? And work your way through right the way up to 50. And then write down the prime numbers between 20 and 30. Okay, so we're looking at that bit and we're just looking at this bit, the bit in the middle here, between 11 or between 20 and 30. So what prime numbers have we got there? So that yellow group is your task 2. So use your 100 square that you completed in task 1 to help you calculate those questions. And then when you've done that, I'd like you to move on to task 3. Now task 3 is a challenge. And remember, you've got your hours lesson. Don't spend ages on this one. If you've just done an hour to complete your 100 square and task 2, that's fine. But if you want a challenge, then the next set of questions that you've got is using your knowledge of square numbers. And again, we've put the square numbers here for you just in case you need a bit of reminding. And using your knowledge of prime numbers, which you've got on your 100 square. And a square number and a prime number have a total of 22. What are the two numbers? Put your square number in there and your prime number in there. And then here, you've got to be a bit of a detective here. You've got 2 questions here that need you to put your thinking caps on, but you've got all the information that you need on your 100 square to help you answer these. So, yellow group, once you have done that, the lesson is over. Please remember to send in your completed answer sheets to your class teacher at the end of the day.